Today, I offer a simple plea to the Fun Pimps. Now we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to start off this video by saying that I love 7 Days to Die. This game has offered me thousands of hours of entertainment and enjoyment, and I wanted to start off this video by saying thank you to the Fun Pimps for creating what I believe to be the best survival game ever made. This game is awesome, and I truly love 7 Days. But it's because of my love for 7 Days to Die that I felt obligated to point out a reoccurring issue that has plagued this game time and time again, and to humbly ask the Fun Pimps to please stop this. So with that being said, let's get into it. Far too often in the development of 7 Days to Die, the Fun Pimps will see a small portion of the fan base playing 7 Days in a way that they don't like. Instead of saying, that's cool, I wouldn't play the game that way, and moving forward with development by working on new content, they instead focus far too much time and attention stopping these few players from doing something they don't like. They wag their fingers and say, no, 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 you can't do that, proceed to implement a quote-unquote fix to the quote-unquote issue, and pat themselves on the back for stopping these dastardly players. The problem is that their quote-unquote fix doesn't just affect the small portion of the fan base they are trying to stop. It affects everyone, and more often than not, it does not achieve the intended goal. Allow me to provide a few examples. As many of you may know, I am a console transplant. I was introduced to 7 Days to Die on the PS4 and have many hours on that version. While in the console version, one of the safest places to be was underground. Players could completely avoid the zombie jerks even on Horde Night by going underground. A simple build like this is all you would need to be completely safe from the zombies. And it's true that some players did take advantage of this fact, but the Fun Pimps said, oh no, you can't do that, and fundamentally altered zombie pathing and AI in 7 Days. The Fun Pimps gave the zombies all engineering degrees from MIT as well as auger hands. That meant that the zombies automatically know the quickest and easiest path to the player, and at the same time they can also dig. This changed everything for everyone, not just the vast minority of players who chose to play 7 Days by hiding underground from the zombies. Plus, it didn't really solve the problem. It is still possible to avoid zombies by building underground. It may not be as easy or effective, but it is still completely possible. The side effect from this quote-unquote fix was that it fundamentally changed Horde Night for all players. So when the players saw this change, they said to themselves, there's more than one way to skin a cat or control the horde, and they got to work. Players learned the new zombie pathing and AI quickly, and it turned out that the new zombie mechanics were even easier to manipulate. Thus, the elevated corridor style base was born. A simple setup like this could have the zombie jerks running around in circles all night long. Simply create an elevated walkway, slap down some wedge tip blocks like this, and you're good to go. The zombie jerks will path up this stairwell here across the walkway, and once they hit the wedge tip blocks, they would slide off the side and have to start the loop again. They saw the wedge tips as a perfectly valid way to reach the players. However, the wedge tips were too steep for them to path across, causing them to fall down and start the loop again. The Fun Pimps saw players doing this and said, nuh-uh, you can't do that, and they changed zombie pathing again to allow them to walk across wedge tip blocks. But once again, it didn't work. Players simply flipped the wedge tips around, put half block walls on top, and presto, the corridor style base lives. Another waste of time and energy by the Fun Pimps in order to stop a small portion of the fan base from playing 7 Days to Die the quote unquote wrong way. Now let's talk about a more recent change. In the latest Alpha 20 update, the Fun Pimps were at it again, and the issue that they had in their crosshairs had to do with polls. Now, I absolutely love the poll blocks in 7 Days to Die. I've used them in builds forever. In fact, one of my first console horde-based designs utilized these blocks heavily. They are excellent for melee horde bases as well as foundation pillars. All you have to do is place down a pole like so, rotate it, and place another block here, and you can build an extremely strong foundation pillar. You essentially have 4 blocks working together to make a sturdy foundation that it would take the zombie jerks a long time to bash down. The Fun Pimps said, "Silly player, you can't do that," and they drastically reduced the amount of hit points that poles and other blocks had. Once again, this change didn't just affect the minority, it affected everyone. And on top of that, it didn't solve the problem. Players said, "Okay, you don't want us to use poles? We'll use bars instead." And by experimenting with a different block type, players discovered that not only did the bars function as an excellent replacement and provide a strong foundational pillar, they also seriously messed with the zombie AI and pathing. Now, the Fun Pimps have since reversed this decision, but therein lays the problem. They spent all that time and energy, quote unquote, fixing a quote unquote issue, realized this was a silly change to make, and then spent even more time and energy changing things back. So my plea is simple. Please stop doing this. Instead of focusing on stopping a small contingent of the fan base from playing 7 Days to Die the wrong way, please focus on finishing development. 7 Days to Die is going on 9 years in development. And it makes me wonder, how much farther down the road would we be if the Fun Pimps would allow players to play the game how they want to play the game instead of trying to stop them? I mean, you guys have got to realize that there are a lot more of us than there are of you. Players will always find a way to manipulate or exploit the game to their advantage, no matter how hard you try to stop them. So instead of wasting your time and energy on this exercise in futility, why not dedicate that time and energy on adding in new content and finishing the game? Focus on fixing water, adding in bandits, completing the storyline. Focus on going gold. There are so many areas where your time and attention would be better spent. Once again, I love 7 Days to Die and commend the Fun Pimps for what they have achieved so far with this game. However, as such a huge fan of this game, it is my obligation to say, please stop this. Allow players to play the game the way they want to play the game. Stop focusing so much time and attention on trivial things that in no way affect the way you choose to play the game, and instead focus on adding in the missing content, finishing this game, and let's go gold, baby. That is something the console players especially are looking forward to. Again, this was all said with love, and I hope you take it in the spirit in which it was intended. But for now, this is Savin saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll catch you in the next one.